Addiction to computer games. Company called Blizzard recently created new game which is called Diablo 4. Game is about going through endless dungeons and corridors of hell and killing different minions, different demons with your characters. That game is about. It's a kind of piece of art, I would say. I play this game. It's a piece of art, graphic in this, and how they make it, how kind of story they created about. But there is a hidden thing behind. Quite often those young people which will be playing those games will develop addiction, because it is how it created. There is no way to finish such a game in one go. This kind of game you can play on and on for years, developing your characters, building this up, etc, etc. But what's happening with humans, with people? They may not eat, they may not sleep. They only want to, as quickly as possible, build up their character there in this game. And together with this, there is story, kind of dark story, very dark story. So me, by watching this, by looking at this, I just thinking about young people, how such a game can influence them. Those who will be little fragile, it can twist their minds, because that kind of story behind is very dark. If that seed will fall off on the shaky ground, it can influence it. It can even twist that young fragile mind, because definitely that story is very dark. And if we give it to that fragile young human being, it may not be good for him. That game is created in such a way that it will force you to play hours, and you may forget yourself in this, which may be devastating for young mind. Not only young mind, any mind which stressing during those things, which pushing aside other things and only looking into playing the games. I notice as well that when I get that game into my hands, I set aside another thing. Any other thing was really not important. I just wanted to achieve my goal in that game. This is how strong this addiction is. I battled this for years, and it took me years, 20 years, to lighten that darkness which arose when I was young, and when I play games even 22 hours in one go, 2 hours break, no sleep, next day. That was such a behavior of me, and many young people does it, but they have no idea how big impact it have on their system, mind, heart. They depriving themselves sleep, and all of it, that machinery. When we set this, when we create that habit, when we learn that habit, that machinery will start work upside down, and later on, to bring that machinery to run right functionality, to right sleep, is another long story. Because basically everything which we do wrong, we abused our system, body-mind system, will have to be repeated. We have to first gain ability to be deeply inside, be able to observe this inside, our darkness, our shortcomings. Majority of us don't know how to do it, how to be inside deeply rooted, where is peace, and from that peace we can observe that. But as it happened to myself and my own story, it took me 20 years, first 10 years to find myself, find that peace, and 10 years at least of really horrible suffering, because that core was very darkened by that kind of activity of me. I was a young person, I didn't sleep, I deprived myself sleep, I deprived myself many things, eatings. There was only gaming for me, and millions of young people does it. But what kind of effects it will have on their system, it is unknown. I can only say about myself, radiation from that, and that kind of addiction, what this caused to me. It cost to me 20 years of my life simply. You just at some point of time your system shut down, and suddenly you waking up after 20-25 years, and you see, wow, there is good side of me, there is easiness, peace, lovingness which I lost inside of me, which was hidden by that burden, by that darkness which I created to myself as a young person. And when you start gaming, you see how strong this addiction is. Even now with that knowledge, you really want to play games. That's what this mechanism been twisted. But to untwist that mind, that mechanism inside, is another story. Because you need to really deeply look into yourself and really repeat that experience. But that experience, you really don't want to repeat that because this is painful. You have to do it basically again. You don't want to, but you have to. With everything, existence to bring you back to right functionality, basically give you, at some point of time, the same kind of experience. If you being an angry person, did angry things, you will face angry people. If you play games, deprive yourself sleep, etc., etc., at some point of time, it will be given to you again. You have to repeat that experience with different understanding to lighten that darkness in. And this is painful because when we understand what we cause to ourselves, we protecting ourselves from those experiences. We don't want to go through this again. But we have to. There will be no choice for many of us. And many of us simply will be damaged so badly, so brutally by those events, experiences, and those habits. They never ever come out, flow to the surface. In a way, it is a mercy of existence. And as well, your very hard work to understand yourself deeply inside. Assalamu alaikum.